Hey guys, it's me, EODGamerZ here. Today we're going to be talking about the market updates for the middle of the season. Currently is in approximately 3 weeks in already, and prices are moving up like crazy. Fracturing ops just went from like 10 exalted to 24 exalted in just a day or two. Crazy stuff. But the question that we want to ask ourselves is, can we analyze what trends has happened so that we can predict the future of how to hedge our assets, our resources as well in Path of Exile 2. And it's me, EODGamerZ here. We are a money-focused channel, economy-focused channel as well. Now let's take a look at the overall analysis of this market. Now, I put it here in TLDR summary for any of you who don't have time to watch the entirety of this video. But if you do, put it on your playlist. I think it's a really important one because it helps you understand the whole landscape within like 8 minutes or so. The most important part that I want to bring to your attention is crafting season has officially begun in Path of Exile 2's Dawn of the Hunt. What does this mean is as players generally reach middle game where most people are already in maps, tier 15 maps and beyond, mid-tier items now become super cheap. If you are looking for, or you're a new player just joining the game, returning player, and you're looking for a decent spear, decent crossbow, decent wand, whatever it is, it's very cheap to just get like a +4 chaos wand or a very, very middle of the road spear. Super cheap. You can probably get it for a few exalted. And on the other hand, you have a huge increasing demand for almost mirror tier item, which means it's close to max line, your 1000 plus physical DPS crossbows, your +5 chaos wands with 90 spell damage, 90 chaos damage as well. Those kind of items going to be a bit more expensive and much more expensive as well. And crafting appetite definitely has increased throughout the entirety of the league. And you can see that here in this chart. The numbers don't lie. This is a chart that's of course indexed to the first day of the league. So it's a percentage change that I plotted. Why do I do this graph instead of putting the exact prices? Is because Mirror of Kalandra is measured in hundreds of divines, right? Whereas Exalted Ops is measured in a fraction of divine. So in order to see them all together on the same graph, I have to index them based on their own chart. So this is a percentage change graph for those of you who are wondering as well. So it's a relative value. Divines is the item that I'm using as a benchmark. So you can see over here, the one that has outperformed most significantly is Mirror of Kalandra here. It has gone up about 500% since we started to measure it, which is roughly like in the first week or so when we started to have data points. 500% since then. Your second runner-up here is Omen of Whittling, and you can see here it has recently started to tick higher in line together with Mirror of Kalandra as well. And the worst performer out of all of them is Exalted Ops. This last line over here, the blue line, it has depreciated almost every single day relative to Divine Ops, and is the shittiest performer out of all of them. Now, overall commentary. Exalted Ops underperform every day. And one important thing is we mentioned over here in our first video right on day one that we put out on the channel, we mentioned that Chaos Ops will actually be the outperforming asset this season versus Exalted Ops, and we are continuing to see such a case. The green line here is Chaos Ops, blue line is Exalted Ops, and you can see the deviations ever since like the first week or so where we talked about it in our previous video. Chaos Ops has continued to outperform and roughly stay in line with the value of Divine Ops. So if you were looking for a hedge of currency, Divine Ops and Chaos Ops would have been roughly the same in terms of holding value as we mentioned at the right on day one before any of this even played out. Now we have of course 3 weeks of data and hindsight 2020, right? But we put this video out on day one, and we will always be doing these kind of videos in every future league as well to tell us where is a better position based on logic, and you guys can decide whether it is a sound investment strategy as well. So that is one that we notice. Overall commentary after 3 weeks already into the middle of the league, Chaos continues to outperform significantly. The next thing that, even though it doesn't really look like it on this chart, Fracturing Ops, the one in yellow over here, has done extremely well in the last week. Even though it seems to be only about the same, but you have to look from the low point of last week from the 16th of April, it was almost half its value at the start. Whereas right now, it has shot up by almost double. So it went from 50% to 150% approximately, like 50%, 130% rather, which is a very, very huge drastic change considering that it reversed a trend that it was mostly downward sloping not really super in demand, and now suddenly it's going up. So we are seeing a bit of shift towards fracturing orbs, towards a bit of crafting, especially in the last week or so, because fracturing orbs are very useful in crafting season. So this also tells us that we are moving towards a more late game crafting season as well. So of course, last but not least, Mirror of Kalandra, Omen of Withling continues to outperform. These two generally do really well, especially in the middle league. Late league, of course, your Mirror of Kalandra outperforms the most. But we did this video last week, this kind of market updates, and we will keep doing this every time there is a relevant change in the market so that you guys can keep informed, because we monitor the markets for hours and hours on end, looking at every single different thing. But you guys don't really have time to like spend 8 hours. Who wants to look at markets for 8 hours? You would rather like beat up mobs and trade and stuff. So that's what this channel's value is all about. I give you this information, my analysis of years and years of being in the finance industry as an analyst by profession as well. So last week, we talked about where to invest from here, looking at the different charts. We did mention that we were over here in the early parts of the league. And the thing we mentioned then is Omen season, your purple line, which is your Omen of Withling and Mirror of Kalandra, starts to outperform as we get into the Omen season. History did repeat itself this time in this league, but one important thing is that I didn't expect it to be so soon. If you notice over here, there was a huge massive gap before we started reaching into the Omen season. But I think one of the key differences between this league and last league is that last league there were a lot of bug fixes, there was Christmas going on, so it's a little bit slower to get started, a lot of holidays as well before patches came in. In this league over here, there isn't too much holidays to disrupt. Easter is also a pretty short one as well. So we had a very, very narrower time frame, as well at the same time. Most players are much more experienced now. They know exactly what to do to make some money because they have already seen one cycle of the league. They have watched our videos, they analyze everything, they know how to make money. So this whole chart here moved towards the left, it was closer. So Omen season is beginning, history is repeating itself, although it's a little bit sooner than average. Now, at this point, just looking at charts and stuff are not going to tell us the bigger picture of what's going on, because looking at charts, looking at trends is the initial insight. The more important part is to continue your analysis to form an idea of what's going on, and that's where our value add really comes from. So importantly, looking at the top tier omens tells a very important story. So if I show you these 4 omens over here, for those of you who haven't seen this, haven't dropped this before, these are high-end crafting omens. We have entire videos. For those of you who maybe can't appreciate this, we show you the concept of crafting mirror tier items. You can just search our channel. These 4 are endgame crafting. Omen of Withling is considered as middle to late, not the top tier endgame expensive ones. These 4 are really good because you are able to control whether your prefix is removed by Chaos Orbs, your prefix is removed by annulments, your suffix is removed by annulments and stuff like that. So all of these all play an important role as well. So one important thing that I noticed over here is your Dextro Erasure and your Dextro Annulments significantly outperform your Sinistro Annulments and Sinistro Erasures as well. So if I go into the currency market, it's always a bit confusing with the different terminologies, but you notice that the word that they start off with is Sinistro, means prefix. So Sinistro here prefix, Sinistro here prefix, and your Dextro here means suffix, Dextro means suffix. Annulment is for Orb of Annulment, Erasure is for Chaos, and that's just a quick, easy way to remember everything. So you can see over here, your Sinistro is prefixes, and between the annulments, most people don't really annul your prefix. Because why is this the case? Because prefixes usually are weapons, and you are usually locked in for your prefix. Before you even do anything, you already decide whether your item is good. For example, like this, your prefixes will already be like max rope before you continue with the bottom part, and you won't start off with like the bottom part and then try to find your high physical damage lines, because it will be very, very inefficient and the item might not sell as much. So that is why most of the time, annulments for the prefixes not very valuable, because your suffixes are usually the ones that are less economically valuable for the most part, for most stuff especially. So that is why your annulments, your Sinistro annulment is a lot cheaper relative to the rest. It is at a massive discount. It's like 50% cheaper than the rest. The rest of them are all roughly in line. So it's not because it's like more common or whatnot. It's just people use this much less relative to the rest of them. And you can see here, anything that removes removes or amends your suffixes are very, very high in demand. These are way better. So if you were an investor, you were to plan, what am I going to buy? What omens are worth investing in? The ones that modify your suffixes, like your dextro annulments, dextro erasures, tend to be a bit more valuable to amend. And of course, you can see here, both of the suffixes, the prefix modifiers, sinistro erasure, sinistro annulment are 3rd and 4th place as well. So focus on this, don't focus on this. That is the lesson and the story that they are trying to tell us as well. So next up, looking at this expensive stuff is great, but a lot of us will never reach that point other than like buying the omens for investing. How about us, like normal folks? If we don't have tons of resources, even though you have been playing non-stop, if you want to learn like how to get hundreds of divines, you can follow the channel for more information I share with you. But let's just say we didn't have too much time to play this league. We don't have too much luck. How can we still capitalize on the league and the trends that are going on? And that is understanding what crafting is driven by. So now that we know that we are in crafting league, we see all the charts as well. The next step is to break it down. Where do we go from here so that we can start making a bit more profit based on the trends that we are seeing? One important thing is when you are crafting, there is also driven by rings, damage lines, and in this league, the previous league was totally different. It was driven by attribute catalyst, but in this league, we are driven mostly, the league is driven mostly by 3 types of catalysts that people are looking for. And these also tell a story, which I'm going to share with you. I analyze, as I mentioned, everything, and I'm going to like just make it super easy for us to understand. 3 catalysts outperforming the rest. One is Reaver. This is significantly outperforming. It's very expensive. In order to get a max breach ring, it costs us at least 2 divines to fully tier up a breach ring. So it's ridiculously expensive right now with Reaver Catalyst. Your Ash Catalyst, which is lightning, is also really expensive. So Reaver is attack, for those of you who don't know. Anything with like fire damage lines, accuracy lines, leech mana lines, and whatever not. Reaver settles all of that. Your physical flat, your lightning flat, cold flat, fire flat, all benefits from Reaver. That's why it's so expensive. Ash is lightning. Anything to do with lightning, one form or another, also gets a buff. Lightning damage percentage. Chayula, anything to do with chaos, so your chaos damage percentage, your chaos resistance, all of these benefits from Chayula as well. So these 3 are the most expensive right now because your meta is driven by Amazons who are using accuracy, which Reaver can help with, as well as a lot of flat damage lines, which are really, really very strong right now, especially since attribute has been nerfed a lot. So a lot of people are turning towards the high flat stats instead of attribute stacking this season. That is why you see a massive spike in your Reaver Catalyst as well. And you will notice that your flat stat rings, Tier 9 are very, very expensive, and it's the thing that is making a lot of money, which we did have a video on the channel. So if you guys are interested, you can check out our videos on the channel teaching you how to craft those God tier rings step by step too. Otherwise, if you are a crafter, you have these 3, you might want to actually keep this. If you want to do a reforging method, we also have reforging tutorials on the channel as well, which you can make money because you can reforge lower tier items to try to get these and sell them for a bit more money as well. But that's besides the point. So if you're crafting, this tells you the direction of what you want to focus on, what stats, what lines are useful. So flat, a lot of high tier flat lines, lightning damage, lightning flat lines, chaos percentage, maybe some cast speed inside as well. Those are all really, really important lines. And that is what I'm seeing, at least in the crafting based on the breach drops as well, your catalyst. The next up, of course, this is the video that I was talking about. If you guys want to craft God tier rings like what we have on the channel, you can check it out. I also have loans on, I call it loans because I'm just really like loaning it out for like 1 Exalted. So we craft all these God tier rings for YouTube videos, and as a way to give back to the community as well, I just like loan this out for 1 Exalted for people of members of our community. If you're interested, join our Discord. The links are in the video description below. We loan out very, very good gear. So this ring just recently went out for loan, double tier 9, double, and like 1 tier 7. So really strong one. Really, really strong. But it's mostly just to give back to the community because we do the craftings for these videos, and whatever we get from the videos, I try to put it back into the community so that you guys can progress faster as well. That's like my value add as a community content creator too. So that is so far what we are seeing. Other notable assets, I want to value add even further because talking about these kind of stuff is nice, but let's keep doubling down and increasing the value that we are getting. Next up, of course, some other notable assets and why they are doing well. One is your Tikibas. Tikabas. They are basically your S cappers in 0.2. This here, Tikiba, is worth 1 to 119 Exalted, which is, I believe, a divine each of them now. Why is it so expensive? It's because it offers crit damage, which Amazons use. It is literally all of their damage. So these are super expensive. You can profit from this based on, depending whether the market is up or down. We explain to you when you can profit from this, how to profit from this. In this video over here, we recently put it out. So just click on our channel, click the videos, and then just like scroll down like 2 rows or something. You'll probably see it there as well. Still good. The reforging method as well. Check it out if you're interested to make money from this. We also like share with you, but it's beyond the scope of this video because this isn't like how to make money video. This is a market analysis, what's going on kind of video. So this is what we are seeing. Tikaba is still going up really, really strong. Held very well since we last analyzed it. And of course, with the Scepter buff, we are also seeing Rabbit Talisman continuously going up from where we saw. It was, I think, at one stage 24, 25 Exalted. Once they released the patch, it went up to 100, and now it's like 300, 400 Exalted, which is almost 4 divines. The reason why this is so good, Rabbit Talisman, is because it gives you 10% increased spirit for scepters. Not really so much the rarity line, because rarity, when it was just rarity alone, it was only 24 Exalted. Once they patched it, scepters, which are mainly used for spirits, for either Amazons who are holding it for spirit, or maybe your minion players using it to summon more minions. So it's basically a must to socket it with Rabbit Talisman. That's why these are so expensive. Almost 4 divines each as well. Another one, of course, is your greater runes. These have gotten a rework. Now, if you are in higher tier areas, you no longer drop lesser runes, normal runes, and this is pushing the prices of greater iron runes down significantly. At one stage, it was close to 6 or 7 Exalted before they did the patch. Now that the patch has kicked in, greater iron runes are much more common. It's much more easier for us to drop them as well. So you are seeing that in the prices as well. They are coming down quite significantly because you no longer have the odds of dropping useless lower tier items. And these are basically used for whenever you are trying to socket your completed weapons, you want to sell them for money. Everyone uses greater iron runes most of the time. So it's easier to search on trade site. So good thing for us crafters, iron runes are going down. And of course, just want to do a quick shout out over here to our EOD bank clients who have transacted with us. So one of the things is Mirror of Calandra is very expensive. What we offer is, if you want to buy, person over here bought 5% of a Mirror of Calandra for 18 divines a week ago and sold it yesterday for 25 divines. So make about 40 divines passively just using the EOD bank system as well. So it's really, really solid. 40+% divines just like doing nothing. This is how you can exploit the market analysis that we do in this video, the trends. Just put your money there, do nothing at all, and then just clip back a 40%. So it's really, really strong. Really happy for our client here, 5% stake, and still made 7 divines off of 5% in a week, which is really, really quite cool. So where do we go from here? Now that we talked about everything, we always like to end off this kind of videos with what actionable lines. How do we actually profit from here on out? The first thing, of course, as we talked about, is Mirror of Calandra. Mirror of Calandra has always outperformed. If you look at the chart, if we go back up here, it always goes up, and it has been the significant outlier because of its rarity. This season, there's no dupe bugs and everything. It will continuously go up as well. So I think that is really, really strong. At the same time, if you can't afford it, we have fractional shares available as well. You can join our Discord. We have a whole section teaching you like more information on these fractional shares. But every single of our member, we have another member here who has already purchased it at 315, almost doubling his money. Like now it's like worth 60 divines. So he made 30 divines doing nothing for 10 days, doubling his money in like 10 days just because bought in a little bit earlier as well. So Mirror of Calandra, very solid. If you can afford it, do it as well. If you can't afford it, consider joining our EOD bank, which allow 5%, 10% investments so that you can get exposure to the asset without having to buy the entire Mirror of Calandra out. Next up, your Whittling Purple Omens. These are likely going to get a lot more expensive as we enter the crafting league, excluding your Omen of Greater Annulments, which is just one greater amount of annulments, like 2, considered as 2. That's not very, very key. So your purple annulments, as we talked about, very good, but the ones that you want to focus on is the one that does stuff to the suffix rather than the prefix. That will help you get a little bit more money. Whittling is, of course, going to be the cheapest out of all of them because they can be found in lower tier maps, whereas your high tier purple omens can only be found on high tier maps, like level 79. I believe it's like 80 plus or something. So that is a key one. And last but not least, of course, is breach ring farmings. As we are entering the late game, everyone's going to be looking for finalizing their builds. Breach rings is the best way to get there because of the 40% catalyst multiplier that you get on the lines. This scales into endgame. People will likely shift towards breach rings. And if you're interested in profiting from breach rings, the video that we have here last season, teaching you how to profit from mid-season hype, will share with you the step-by-step thought process of how to get a lot of breach rings. I spend over 70 divines on buying raw breach rings alone, and if people are doing this, likely there are going to be more people out there doing it too. So if you found this video helpful, do consider joining as a member for more content. We value add a lot to our members of the channel, and it's just a nice way of supporting the channel too to keep us here in the long run. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and see you guys in one of these two next videos.